Hey guys, I'm Alessio and this is my cinema, and today I'm gonna talk about Ghostbusters. I'm here once again after Back to the Future to talk about another beloved franchise from the 80's which I didn't like. And as well as Back to the Future, this was the first time that I watched this franchise. Another common point with Back to the Future is the fact that I watched them just now and not as I was a kid as many people did, which is weird because also in Italy it's very popular and it's always broadcasted on TV every year, so I don't know why I never watched those two franchises before. But we are here to talk about what's wrong with them. The first is solid, it has a nice script, it's well rounded, it's on point, it's well paced, and it doesn't have useless parts, so pretty much like the first Back to the Future. So how I could not like a movie like that? Comparing it again with Back to the Future had the problem with its comedy. And I'm starting to think that the problem that I have with this comedy is probably the comedy from the 80's. I just probably don't understand the humor of those years. Because I could also have the movie like Star Wars, which is funnier than those two for me. I get more its humor, but it's still not one of my favorite comedy movies though. Star Wars, it's not a comedy movie, so I still like it because it doesn't depend a lot on its comedy. But still, it proves how much problem I have with the comedy in those years, and I want to ask you if you could tell me some comedy movies that you like from the 80's and write me them in the comment, because I would like to go back and watch them and see if it's just the 80's or if it's just those two movies and franchises that I don't get. And it also helps those two franchises to stay on their feet because it helps the actions, the comedy that it's put in Back to the Future and Ghostbusters. And unfortunately for me, not getting it, I get bored in those movies. Mostly after the first hour, it happened for Back to the Future 1 and it happened for Ghostbuster 1. After the first hour I usually get bored. I can't focus anymore in a good way on the movie because I'm getting bored, and if you get bored it's really hard to follow a movie, though it's really well made. Then there is the sequel, unfortunately, because it shouldn't exist, and if it has to exist it should have been 30 minutes short. Because differently from the first one, this time they didn't have a nice story, at least not a very long one, and they knew that the only way to make at least a nice one was to go the same way that they went with the first, and so they did, but they were still missing a first act. So what they did, they turned the heroes into terrorists. They didn't allow them to make their job anymore because of what they did at the end of the first, just saving the city. So they became monsters, it seems, and they went bankrupt and had to go and make another job. So the first act was trying to rebuild the Ghostbusters. So those 30 movies for me, they shouldn't have existed because the reasons they used to make it are just lame and dull. Another thing that shouldn't have happened was the breakup with Dana and Venkman, because it makes lose other 10 minutes of the movie trying to rebuild this, and it was just weird. I think it was again done just to add something to the movie and don't make it just an hour long. And this should be enough to make you see why this movie has to exist. Another thing that you can add is that The Time That Remains goes completely like the first did. It's pretty much like Hangover Part 2, it was just the copy of the first with a different setting. Though this time it's just a different ghost, not a setting, but it's still pretty much the same and makes it worse. This movie doesn't have any good thing for me. Maybe it's... And I'm glad for them that they made money, but this shouldn't be the way. This is a cheap way to make money and it's not good. It's the same problem that we have today, just we added reboots to make the problem even worse. There are other things that I didn't like in this movie. One that it's in both of the movie, it's Rick Moranis' character. It's just look like a bad copy of Woody Allen. It's just not a good character. It's just annoying. I didn't like any scene that was him. Another thing that we can add is that the ghost targeted again Sigourney Weaver's character, because among all of the people that has a kid in New York, the ghost had to go and find her. And the reason why he goes to find her is just because she works as a restorator, where the painting that house a ghost is brought in. And that's just stupid, because in the first movie she played in an orchestra, so I don't know how she went to be a instrument player to be a painting restorator. I don't think the jump is so easy. I don't think this transition it's normal, and the movie doesn't try to explain this at all. It says just because she will have more time for the kid, but it's just stupid. And they also didn't try to make any effort in improving the special effects in this one. So to close the review, we can say that the first movie, it's good. I just didn't like it because of the comedy. It's not my type of comedy, unfortunately. I just have a problem with the 80's because I like pretty much the comedies of all the other periods, and the second, it's just an insult to everyone that goes out there and tries to make a movie that it's worth watching, putting all his efforts in that movie. And this movie, it's just an insult to them. So I hope you enjoyed, I hope you want to see more. If it's so, you may subscribe, you may like or dislike the video, you may leave a comment. It's all for now, see you next time.